The last mammoth friend. 40,000 years ago, long before cities, kingdoms, or written history, humans lived in a world ruled by ice, wilderness, and giant beasts. In a cold valley beside a winding river, a young boy named Karo lived with his tribe. Like everyone else, he spent his days helping gather food and learning the skills needed to survive. But Karo was different. While the hunters dreamed of spears and glory, Karo was fascinated by the animals that shared his world. He could spend hours watching mammoths roam across the plains or studying the tracks left behind in the snow. One winter, a terrible storm swept across the valley. Powerful winds howled through the night, and thick snow covered the land. For days, no one dared leave the safety of the camp. When the storm finally ended, Karo ventured into the wilderness to search for firewood. As he crossed a rocky ravine, he heard something unusual, a cry. At first, he thought it was the wind. Then he heard it again. Curious, Karo climbed down the steep rocks and discovered the source of the sound, a young woolly mammoth. The calf was trapped beneath fallen rocks. Its leg was injured, and it was far too weak to escape. Karo knew what his tribe would do if they found it. A mammoth meant meat, fur, and survival. But as he looked into the frightened eyes of the young animal, he couldn't leave it behind. For hours he worked alone. He pushed rocks, he pulled branches, and little by little he freed the trapped mammoth. When the calf finally stood, Karo expected it to run away. Instead, it remained beside him. The young mammoth seemed to understand that its life had been saved. Karo led the calf to a hidden valley surrounded by cliffs, far from the hunting grounds of his tribe. There he secretly cared for his new friend. Every day he brought water. Every day he gathered plants and roots. Slowly, the injured leg healed. As the days passed, an unlikely friendship began to grow. The mammoth followed Karo wherever he went. They explored streams together. They crossed grassy fields. Sometimes the calf would splash water at Karo, and the boy would laugh until tears filled his eyes. For the first time in his life, Karo had a friend unlike any other. But secrets rarely stay hidden forever. One afternoon, several hunters discovered enormous footprints near the forest. The tracks were fresh. Excited by the possibility of an easy hunt, they followed the trail. Hidden among the trees, Karo overheard their plans. His heart sank. If they found the mammoth, everything would be over. He rushed through the forest to warn his friend, but an even greater danger was already approaching, a giant cave lion. The predator had also discovered the mammoth's scent. Hungry after the long winter, it silently stalked toward the hidden valley. At dawn, the attack came. The lion exploded from the tall grass with terrifying speed. The mammoth calf froze in fear. Karo shouted and threw stones, trying desperately to distract the beast, but the lion kept coming. Then something unexpected happened. The young mammoth stood its ground. Fear filled its eyes, but it refused to run. With a loud trumpet, it charged. The cave lion hesitated. The calf charged again. Snow and dust flew through the air. Surprised by the animal's courage and Karo's relentless defense, the predator finally retreated into the forest. The danger had passed, but Karo knew they could not stay hidden any longer. The mammoth belonged with its own kind. The next morning, the boy made a difficult decision. He would help his friend find its herd. Together, they began a long journey across the frozen wilderness. They crossed icy rivers. They climbed snowy hills. They endured freezing winds and endless storms. Days turned into weeks. Then one evening, Karo noticed something in the snow. Footprints, huge footprints, adult mammoth tracks. Hope returned. They followed the trail across the plains. Suddenly, a distant trumpet echoed through the cold air. The calf stopped. Its ears lifted. Then it answered the call. A moment later, enormous shapes appeared through the mist. A mammoth herd. Towering giants emerged from the snowy horizon. At the front stood a massive female mammoth. The moment she saw the calf, she rushed forward. The young mammoth ran to meet her. Mother and child touched trunks and made soft sounds of recognition. After all this time, they had finally found each other. Karo watched quietly from a nearby hill. His mission was complete. The calf turned toward him one last time. Slowly, it walked back. For a brief moment, the mammoth and the boy stood face to face. Then the calf gently touched Karo's shoulder with its trunk. A silent goodbye. A silent thank you. As the sun began to set, the herd moved away across the endless plains. Karo stood alone, watching until the last shadow disappeared beyond the horizon.